Gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to badge in, close the vault, because you are now tuned into the Skiff International, where situations, conversations are inspiring intellectual futures. I got the time right now. We are hacked in. We have transcended into international waters, and we are officially worldwide. So we are going from lower class and outcast to podcast. So it is time for the Skiff Sit Rep for the week. Of course, I'd be remiss if I did not introduce the crew. You guys already know him, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. Out there, South Korea, we got Michaela out there. She just got up, but she's
Yep.
doing everything she can to hang with us. How you doing? You guys good out
Hey,
there?
hey, look.
I'm doing great. Just woke up. It's
That
amazing.
sounds about right. She is not the one in the crowd right now. She just woke up. All right. And then, of course, we got out there in San Antonio. We got Chief from the Noya, baby. How you doing?
Better if we would have won this past Sunday, but hey, it is what it is. Let's get into it, man. Let's get it popping.
Sweet. And then, of course, out here live from Vegas, you got me, Christian HYPEMAN Sledge, your host for the day. So if you're hearing this, hey, you are here, you are alive, about to get this sit rep. We want to let the audience know that opinions are our own and they do not reflect anybody else in particularly, especially the government agency, Department of War, or any military departments. This is just us just talking about some topics out here. So without further ado, you guys ready to hear what's going on out there?
Man, tell me, let's get into it.
Always open ears.
All right,
Let's
cool.
get into it.
Tragedy at F.E. Warren Air Force Base. So in October 2025, Airman First Class Marcus White Allen was found dead at F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming, marking the fourth death amongst the base security forces since July. White Allen had been under investigation for a July shooting that killed Airman Braden Lovan. The incident first raised fears of misfiring of an M18 service pistol, prompting the Air Force to temporarily pull the weapon from duty. But investigators later charged White Allen with manslaughter and making a false statement, and the pistols were cleared for use. The recent deaths, including two others in separate shootings, have brought the attention to the stress faced by the 90th Security Forces Group, whose mission is to guard nuclear weapons and missile silos around the clock. Base officials have continued to investigate both White Allen's death and the earlier shooting while offering support to those affected. So with that being said, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
So being security forces, we heard about it immediately. It started an investigation. I know that people even out here were shocked. Statewide, they kind of held down on the M18 while the investigation was going on. So we were holding fours, everyone. I know we were still holding 18s, but to my knowledge, in the States, they were like, okay, everyone hold your fours, just wait on the 18 till we get it cleared. Because in his original statement, he said he had like set it down and it misfired. So everyone was kind of scared now to use it, because we were like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to accidentally bump into like my desk and then the weapon shoots me in the leg. Exactly. But an investigation did happen. That is not what happened at all. So, a bit more safety to go around there. But yeah, no, it changed a lot because with us, at least out in Korea, we changed our vest to where nothing is on our side, nothing is on that side of where our holster is. So there's no way, like nothing can get caught on our gear. Nothing can get in with our trigger well. So that's good. But it definitely shocked a lot of people out here.
Man, first of all, condolences to the family, right? Going through this loss and this tragedy. That, you never expect someone so young in their life to lose their life in such a senseless way. I would be interested to hear the details of like what transpired, and was it an argument? Was it some kind of beef going on between them? Because we all know in the squadron what happens in the squadron, right? You got your little pockets of airmen, and they're kind of, doing their own thing, talking crap, thinking they back in the streets. You know how that is. And I'm wondering, did some of that bleed over into work and cause an issue where they, decided to pull out a, live service weapon and actually, you know, use it, which is unfortunate, man. And I know that's a close knit community, right? Being in that area, it's not much to do. So a lot of members are together all the time. So, that definitely is something that is tragic to say the least. But I man, I know you were stationed up there, so you have probably more in-depth detail that you can give us on it?
Well, being in a part of the nuclear force, like it is a pretty tight knit group, but the duties and responsibilities are pretty relentless for obvious reasons. Due to the nuclear mission out there. Shout out to all the 90 at the mighty 90 out there doing their thing. They don't get to skip a day, and it's pretty stringent up there. Um, it is a little bit different out there, and there are definitely mental health issues that arise from just being in those environments for that extended amount of time. It's no telling what the heck went out of it. I know that's all that's still under investigation. I know that the duty requirements out there are definitely more intense than most locations, and it has to be coordinated like with very specific detail to make sure that we can answer the call should the government need it, the president or whomever needs to utilize that force. So security forces is a big presence out there, and they go through a lot compared to maybe another unit that doesn't have nuclear arms. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, again, condolences to the
Very
family and
austere
everything else like that, man. Huh?
Hey, Hype, it's a very austere environment, right? Because they use UH-1s to go to and from the silos, right? Yeah. And you're on duty for what, week, 2-week increments or something like that?
Yeah, when
So
they go out there for 3 days. The facility cops or whatever, the MAFO cops, they go out there for at least 3 days. The Missileers actually swap out daily. I think some units have changed where they stay out there longer, but the cops they're out there for a few days at a time, like a deployment. So it demands a lot. So they
so
go
you
through a
get,
lot.
like, really close with who you're going with and teammates and stuff like that. So, yeah, I find that's crazy, man, for that person to get, you know
Yeah. But what I want to do before we close this one out, if you are someone who's struggling, we're going to remind you here to, reach out, seek out help. Help is available by calling or texting 988 of the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. So whatever you're going through, I know things can be tough, but there's help out there and resources to kind of ring you in and kind of give you that support and those resources that you need. All right. You guys ready for the next one? Air Force launches full dorm inspection after housing scandals. The United States Air Force has ordered a full inspection of every service member's dorm to ensure clean, safe, and comfortable living conditions. The directive, confirmed by Air Force officials, requires commanders to inspect not only dorm rooms, but also shared spaces like kitchens, laundry rooms, and storage areas. Any airman found living in unsafe or unsanitary conditions must be relocated immediately. The move follows growing concern over military housing after a 2023 Government Accountability Office report revealed shocking conditions in some barracks, including mold, sewage leaks, and infestations. In response, military leaders have faced pressure to address these problems. Earlier this month, Defense Secretary or War Secretary Pete Hegseth announced the creation of a new barracks task force to set housing standards and develop long-term improvement plans. Kayla, you're in the dorms, aren't you? How's that going?
I am.
How
For
your dorms
me,
doing?
well, but like in general, like the dorms out here are like they're kind of different. Each building is different. I know they're trying to shut down the one across from mine. Some dorms don't have hot water. Some won't, like some have mold. Um, but that's like something you're gonna hear everywhere. That's what we had in Lackland. That's something you kind of just deal with. I'm glad that there are people who are inspecting. So it is like being looked at if it is like to that point of unsafe that they are relocated. So that's good. Yeah.
back in the day, I will say this. First of all, I started in the dorms, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah. Dorm life.
And look, those were new dorms in McCord when I was up there. So I will say it was a good life, right? You shared a restroom, which I hated, right?
Yeah, your
My
sweet
bro,
mate.
wait, you call it piss mate. My piss mate, man. Whoa,
Keep it PG.
the bathroom door locked, man. I had to use the bathroom. I'm like, bro, I'm the
This is
hey,
some
open the door, man. What you fucking doing? Cause you gotta like your door, bathroom,
yeah,
his
yeah, yeah,
door,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
out my room to his front door.
Debo,
Hey,
Debo.
hey, oh, man. Shout out to my old kiss mate. He is the key. Pubes was on the damn toilet.
No. Oh, no.
Man,
No.
it was a very, because everybody's hygiene is not the same,
It's
man.
not the same. We are
We
not the
Not.
same.
saying, man, some people grow up and they, do their thing, and shout out to them. Thank you for your service. But look, in this situation, I'm like, oh, open up the bathroom door. So yeah, he would always lock me out, man, and go to work. And I used to be like, bruh, we about to have some problems. But I digress. We all know, well, from my time on staff, Milcom budgets, they allot for a certain percentage, but man, that stuff gets moved up and down, right? And infrastructure is the first thing, or let me say, the last thing that they think about, right? We think about equipment, we think about the newest, F-47 coming out, we think about the latest hypersonic weapon. We don't think about the actual place where people are living, right? And when you think about that, just in general, we've kind of, fell back on investing in that part of our force. Now, I will say this, we're trying to make up for it, we're trying to catch up, but we already know that that's a huge problem, something that needs to be addressed. And I think that's across the DOW, man. Like we have some old barracks, old dorms, old housing. At one point I was in housing at a base where the AC went out and it was 100 something degrees in the house with a newborn baby, and they were like, and remember, we privatized it in order for them to keep up and provide the necessary updates, but they were found to be taking the money and just not even updating anything or not even upkeeping the property. So it is a privatization of it can cause some issues. It really depends on if you have a good faith partner, but
Mhm.
we really have to work on making sure that we allocate the correct amount to Milcom budgets to ensure that we represent the world class organization that we are, right? Because how can I talk to you about joining and signing over, a part of your youth and sacrificing when I can't even give you a clean environment to just sleep in? That doesn't compute. So we got to work on that seriously. We got to really look at that. And I love the fact that they're inspecting and they're, doing something about it, because you can't just let this problem just sit there. It's been sitting there for years. I
Mm.
mean, I had the problem when I was a young airman, a young NCO, and the problem still exists now. Dude, that's 20 plus years of the same stuff. So who's doing what about what? They're not fixing it. They're not adding any. They're not changing. So we need some action. And I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. That was one of my follow-up questions there. Would cleaner, safer dorms help the military attract and retain more recruits? Or is the
Well,
issue deeper than that? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, every little bit helps, right? But if you're gonna join a world class organization such as, let's say, Google, for instance, they probably send you a laptop, some damn Google glasses, a vest, a name tag, and some other stuff, some swag where you feel like, you know what? All right, I joined a really dope organization. I'm ready to, get to work. And the same can be said about the military. The new dorms up at Lackland, they are a showcase item. They're nice. But when you leave that new environment and then you go to tech school and you're in dorms that existed in the 1970s, okay. And then you move again and you move to your operational unit, and then these dorms existed in 1980. And then, the facilities are old and everything's old and everything takes time to update. We're really doing ourselves a disservice because we start off high and then we end low. It should be a consistent line. It should be very, linear. It should not have these ebbs and flows. It should be, all right, cool. I come in the military. I'm here. I'm treated, like an airman. I'm looked after. The things that I don't have to worry about, such as, where I'm going to eat, where I'm going to live. I don't have anything to worry about with that. And most people kind of join the military for that reason, to get away from something, right? To kind of escape something. So we got to provide an environment conducive to that kind of situation. So people have that with them. So we definitely, it's definitely a recruiting tool. It's not the only thing, but it is the recruiting tool that we can use.
Yeah. That's literally why I joined. Like, it was like quality of life, literally. I mean, not, trying to, throw shade at any other whatever, any other service or whatever, but I knew the Air Force's quality of life was, you know, like pride. Yeah, there's pride in it. So I knew that was what I was looking for. So it literally was a recruiting tool for me. And when I got to my dorms, I was like, had the same kind of construct. You had your room and then you had your suite mate, right, for PG purposes. And then you had,
No, what? Yeah.
and then, and then and then you had the other room, whatever the case may be. So the struggles that the chief had, man, I had those same struggles, man.
That-
Hitting the
like,
door, man, trying to get
look, I'll tell you this. I remember back in the day when I was working for
that
the
was a
mayor.
quality check.
No, yeah, look. I was working for the mayor's team back in the day. I'm gonna keep this story short. Working for the mayor's team. The mayor's team in New Orleans helped underprivileged youth by giving them experience with different companies in New Orleans, right? So for whatever reason, they ended up partnering with the military, the recruiting department of the Navy. I end up going to the Naval recruiting department. They had this guy who was retired Navy, chief petty officer, right? He sees me. He's like, "Hey, Rouser, you ever think about joining the military?" Ain't for me. I ain't joining no military. I'm good. He said, "Oh, okay." He said, I know you worked here this entire summer. You seem like, a dude that, you're smart. You're probably going places, all this stuff. He said, but let me just let you know. I retired from the Navy, but I will tell you this. If there's one thing I'll tell you is join the Air Force. I was like, but you're in the Navy. He's like, I'm telling you, quality of life, trust me, join the Air Force. I was like, cool. I'll throw that in the back of the nugget, but I'm not gonna need it. No, thank you, sir. But look at me now. So to your point, quality of life is something that we're known for. And now I think that is being debunked by some of our old, dilapidated, you know, structures. We have to update, man. We have to get back to why we are who we are. You call us the chair force? We ain't chair force no more. The broken down chair force. We gotta really get up. We gotta update some stuff, man. We gotta work
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. Okay, cool. So last article for you guys to digest for me. So community steps up for Scott Air Force Base amid government shutdown. As the federal government shutdown continues in Metro East, a restaurant owner is stepping up to support the struggling service members and families near Scott Air Force Base. Retired Air Force General John Mitchell, owner of Marco's Express Restaurant in Illinois, has expanded his Currency of Caring program, an initiative that lets the public buy $8 of wooden tokens and is redeemable for free meals at local restaurants. Since the shutdown began, the program has provided 1,000 meals to airmen in the community facing food insecurity. Of more than 3,000 meals served since the program launched, Michael has also partnered with local food trucks and the St. Louis Food Area Bank to host free block parties with 26% of active duty military personnel nationwide experiencing food insecurity. Efforts like these are bridging the gaps for families that are hit the hardest by the shutdown, showing how one's community compassion can make a real difference when times get tough. So, what do you guys think of that?
Man, I love it, man. Support. Put your money where your mouth is. You want to find out how much somebody cares about something? Follow the money. If I want to know how much Christian Sledge cares about what X, let me go up in your bank account and let me see where that money goes. I can tell you care about entertainment because I've seen it. And Kay, I can tell you care about the internet because I can see it. So my point in saying all that is I appreciate it. I love it. Salute to you, sir. Keep putting your money where your mouth is. We appreciate it. The troops appreciate it. And it's just helping, man. Every little bit helps. We know that we don't join the military to get rich, right? No one's going to be rich. I don't care how hard you work, whatever you do, how high you ascend, you're never going to be rich, but you will be well off. You will be in a situation where you're, taken care of and you're in a good spot. And you're doing something honorable for your country. So with that being said, sometimes we run into, you know, different situations such as the government shutdown and members that are, expecting to get paid and they're not getting paid and they have families And some members live check to check. Airmen, young NCOs with 2, 3 kids, with a growing family. Dude, that's rough. That's a rough, tough spot to be in. And this guy who owns this pizza parlor, hey, he's putting his money where his mouth is. And I love it. And I appreciate it. And the next time I'm out in Scott, I will be buying some pizza and some
And some
food
tokens.
and some
You
and
gonna
some
buy some tokens. You gonna buy some tokens.
and some tokens to be passing. I might buy some tokens and pass my while I'm on base. And I just love it. I love that kind of stuff, that community aspect. People don't understand that community thing, right? That's what separates us from other, cultures, that community. Like we come together, we see someone struggling, and GoFundMe and these crowdfunding sources and things like that, we kind of go at it and we take care of each other. And I love it.
Mm. Okay. And you guys,
Yeah.
have you seen anything out there in Korea?
We haven't seen any initiatives like that, but I know all of our leadership is like, hey, like reach out, let us know if we can help, like let us know if you need anything so we can like route that up and get this like amount of help you need during this shutdown. So I know that they're very supportive, but to be able to see that I know is just wonderful. Like hearing about it, wow. Like I feel like the biggest thing about the military is community, looking out for each other. And that's what separates us from the civilian sector is that we look out for each other. And hearing about those tokens, it's like, wow, like people care. We are being cared about. And it's good to see, especially when um I know that a lot of young airmen may have like feel forgotten because of the shutdown. They're like, oh, you don't want to pay military members when we're the ones working out here, and we still have to work. Even if we don't get that check, we're still working. So it's easy to feel forgotten by our government. But, when we have people like that, it's like, oh, there's our community. That's why we serve. Those are the people we serve for, you know. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
nice to see.
Yeah, it is. And hopefully that serves as an inspiration to those, all across the world who have those issues and concerns where the community kind of rises up and says, you know what, we get it. This is not your fault, right? But we appreciate your service. I can't give you anything direct, but here's how I can help out. I've seen people volunteer at food pantries.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
people have sparked a bunch of community activism in order to cover this gap that's happening. I've seen lines where military members literally still in uniform are going over there to prepare. It's hard
Mhm.
and it's not their fault at all. I worry about the folks who are overseas fighting the war, you know what I mean? And they are wondering how their families are eating at home. It's a lot. So to hear that some of these communities have stepped up and said, you know what, here's how I'm going to support and contribute. Hopefully that goes viral, right? More than some of the negative stuff that goes on in this world. We need more of stuff like this to go viral so that there's a community acceptance of like bridging the gaps because a lot of this stuff that we're going through is not necessarily our fault. It's not the truth's fault. The truth have nothing to do with it, right? And they're still having to work and answer to their families on where dinner is coming from, that's hard. Right? If it's not coming from where it normally comes from, that's a tough one. It's a tough pill to swallow. So
And
um
then, remember, they are, and like to Kay's point, they're showing up to work, still working probably 12-hour shifts. And brother, Friday is going to be here before, and my bills are on automatic payment, so the account's still going to get debited, man. Now, what if you ain't got the funds to cover that? Oh, overdraft. Then what? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like to your point, I love to see the community coming together and helping each other. But man, dude, the margins are so slim for certain people, right? For lower ranking to mid ranking people. And I'm talking about officer and enlisted. I'm not talking about just one side. The margins are thin, man. So because everybody can't just save up a bunch of money in order to, have 3 months of, living expenses because you have kids, other things happen in life. You might be the only one in your family with a good job. And guess what? You got to send money back home to moms. I still do that. And I'm sure you do. Like people do that. So what are you supposed to do? You got to do what you got to do. So now you ain't got that money coming. So then what? It's a bad spot, man. It is a bad spot to be in.
Yeah. It's pretty intense. So again, the message I want to encourage everybody to catch from this is to, reach out to your local community, figure out how you can contribute if you can, but just understand for those who are out there fighting the wars and doing the daily activities, who are taking care of their families, do not suffer in silence. You know what I mean? Reach out and there's no shame there. Like everybody's going through it. Everybody's going to eat that. Like, and everybody understands. So if you need to reach out to your banks and say, "Hey, I need loan forgiveness because here comes this thing." It's not like this is like breaking news. Like everybody knows, like, hey, but you gotta ask for it. You gotta let them know, hey, this particular account is shutting down because we shut down, so that you guys are taken care of and you're not, taking the credit hits and the late payments and the penalties. Right? These are not your fault, but you got to report those. So shout out to those again who are taking care of business with taking care of the community. I can always appreciate something like that. So with that being said, that's the last article for the week. So we'll open up the vault, and thanks for your input, guys. Appreciate it. You guys got any final thoughts out there that you want to get out to the world?
Yeah, man. I'll say, hey guys, stay strong during this, difficult time. I know you might not be getting paid, but the work that you do is appreciated. We appreciate you guys showing up, regardless of what is going on, in Washington, D.C. We appreciate you guys just showing up, being present for duty, being on the line, doing the things you need to do. That is a very good thing. We appreciate you guys. And hopefully very soon we come on the other side of this and you guys remember, you will get back paid. Don't worry about like, oh, I'm not going to get my money. No, everything will be okay. Just keep moving along, keep trucking along, everything be fine.
Yep. Keep pushing. Look for that community, go to the people around you. Everyone's going through it, you will find someone who understands.
Keep in mind, everybody, will never ask you to do something we would not do or could not do ourselves. So we will continue to meet that promise to you guys. So if you guys have any questions or situations you would like to share, your news articles you want to share with us that you guys want us to cover, feel free to add them in the comments, or you can email us at theskiffinternational@gmail.com. So on that note, thank you for watching and listening. And remember that, hey, a lot of things have happened in your life, but a lot of bad things did not happen in your life. You are still here today. So that means we got things to do tomorrow. So with that being said, you guys have a good rest of your day, morning, noon, evening, whatever that may be. And we will see you guys on the next take. Later.